Hello everybody, I'm Kate here, and welcome back to my channel, I suppose. Been a long time since I've done anything, and welcome to Let's Speedrun, something I haven't done in probably a year or so. And this one's going to be a bit more fleshed out than the last one.
Thank you very much for playing The Beginner's Guide.
Yep, the
My name is Davey Reedon. I wrote The Stanley Parable, and while that game tells a pretty absurd story,
so
today I'm going to tell you about a series of events that happened between 2008 and 2011.
I probably
We're going to look at the games made by a
you
friend
can
of
hear
mine
me over it.
named
I
Coda.
fucking hope so.
Now these games mean a lot to me.
And if you want to listen
I
to the
met
narration,
Coda
well,
in early
you know,
2009
thing
at
on
a
the
time
top.
when I was really struggling with
So,
some personal stuff. And his
this
work
is a
pointed
story
me in a
game.
very powerful direction. I
There is
found it to
gameplay
be a
here,
good
of course,
reference point for the
but the
kinds
main
of
point of
creative
this game
works
is to
that
tell a
I
story.
wanted to make.
So
Just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game he ever made.
Counter-Strike.
It's a level for Counter-Strike. You can walk around here, by the way.
I sincerely
And mostly
recommend
it's just
that you
Coda
play this game
learning the
first before
basics
watching
of
this video.
building a 3D
So if
environment.
you've gone this far,
But what I
turn
like
back.
is that even though he starts from the
Or what I'm
simple
saying.
aesthetic of a desert town, he then scatters
Is my
these
game lagging a
colorful
bit?
abstract blobs and
That's
impossible
not very
floating crates
good.
around the level. And of course, it destroys the illusion that this actually
not
is a
very
desert
good.
town, and instead this level becomes a kind of calling card from its creator. It's like a reminder that this video game was constructed by a real person. And it kind of makes you wonder,
can't
what
really
was going through his
start
head
this
as he was
at this
building
point,
this?
but
This is what I like about all of Coda's
maybe I'm just
games.
being paranoid.
I mean,
Maybe I'm being
Not
paranoid.
that they're all fascinating as
I
games,
hope I'm
but
being
that
paranoid.
they are all going to give us access to their creator.
Really hope I'm
I
being
want us
paranoid.
to see past the games
Anyway,
themselves.
this game
I
has
want to get
17
to know
chapters.
who this human being really
No,
is.
18 count this.
And that's
And,
exactly what
and
we're
I've
going to
basically
do here.
made a little guide for myself
So,
on what to do in each chapter.
2008,
Really.
Coda starts making these games,
In this chapter,
and he never
You
releases
do
any.
nothing.
He doesn't put them onto the internet. He just
You just listen
makes
to
them
David
and
Reedon
then
here,
immediately
creator of Stanley
abandons
Parable.
them, and they
If you
sit
don't
on his
listen to the
computer
narration,
forever.
You
And I
basically
think he
listen to him
really
talk.
understood this image of
And
himself as a
that's
recluse.
it.
At one point, he jokingly renamed his computer's recycling bin to "Important Games Folder."
I'm just listening to
So,
the narration
you know,
myself
this was
because
just how he worked. He tended to crank them out
there's
one after
nothing
the
for me
other
to
without even
concentrate on
really
here.
pausing to try to understand what he had just made.
this is
until
quite
suddenly one
one
day,
bit of the game if you
he
just want to
just
actually play
stopped.
video games.
In 2011, that was it. He made his
But
last
if you
game,
wanna
and then
listen to
he
the story,
hasn't made another one since. And
it's an
that's
introduction.
why I've taken this opportunity to gather all of
always
his
necessary.
work together. Is because I find his games powerful and interesting, and I'd like this collection to reach him, to maybe encourage
Oh
him
yeah,
to
there's a
start
little thing I
creating
should
again.
tell you guys about this game.
And if the people like
the
you who
very
play
end.
this also happen to find his work interesting,
very,
then I'm
very,
sure it'll
very,
just send
very
that
big
much
spoiler,
stronger
but,
of a message of encouragement
you
to
know.
Coda. So thanks for joining me on this. If you have a particular interpretation that I haven't mentioned here, or if you just need to get in touch, you can email me at
almost finished.
daveyWreden
Not gonna take another
at
30 seconds, I think.
gmail.com. Okay, that's about it for
There
the
we go.
introduction. Let's take a look at Coda's first proper game.
At last.
As each game is loading, I'll show you the date that it was
I'm
completed.
gonna try and do
This
something
first
in this
one was
game.
made in
Probably not
November
gonna work, but
2008.
who knows? Anyway, this is where the run actually starts. W, okay. Nothing too major here, just movement, I suppose. We also have a gun.
This game is called Escape from
Which
Whisper,
Mr.
and it's
Reading
one of the
will
more
explain.
generic games you'll see from Coda.
Right. And breather.
Security call breached. Hostile alien life form inbound.
Where's the glass here?
It kind of looks like this game was abandoned mid-development. For instance, you
I
have this
just, you
gun,
know,
which
empty
you'd
my
think
gun
would
here.
indicate that there are supposed to be monsters or enemies somewhere, but then clearly there are no enemies anywhere. You can't even reload the gun when you run out of bullets. But ultimately, we don't really know.
Oh, wait, oh,
Maybe
yeah.
Coda thought that actually it was complete
Gotta
the
make
way
sure
that
I'm
it
near
is.
this door so I don't
And
waste
I
any
think that
time.
we should talk about his games for what they are, rather
By the
than
way,
for
this
what
is my
they're not.
very first time actually recording the speedrun.
I love how you can see the body of
I've-
the universe from this room.
I shall explain the boot later because I'm doing stuff here. Okay, here, I'm gonna try and do something. This is... Listen to Mr. Reed explain this. Just for a second.
Apparently, this space station has a labyrinth on it. Sure, I don't know. There's really no reason for it that I've ever been able to discern, so in the interest of
Okay,
time,
yeah,
I'm just
don't
gonna
go
skip you all
forward.
past it.
Okay, right?
Okay, this is the part that's interesting.
You can
The
clear
game
this
has
way
this
before you
narrative
teleport to the
about
end.
the whisper
The
machine
point is,
and
you
how
know,
it has to
there's a
be
labyrinth,
turned
you can't
off,
get through it.
and then you
know,
get to the
like,
engine room.
You can't get through it, so to not waste time,
Hey, you there?
I'm just gonna
in the engine room.
teleport you through.
You could save
But
us
you
all.
can actually beat it in time.
That beam is powering the
But if you go through the black door before, you know,
by introducing a
Davey over
built-in
here
activity signature.
teleports
If
you next to it,
your body could stop the beam.
you softlock.
It's so much to ask, but
It's
for all of our
not
lives,
nothing a normal player
could you do it?
will do,
Could you give yourself?
you know. No. And you did.
Let me pause here for a second. What
Also,
you just
remember,
experienced,
that
stepping
is a
into the
voice
beam
actor,
and
it's
then
not Coda.
dying,
Coda's a male.
is probably
That's a
what
voice actor,
Coda
I
had
suppose.
initially intended when he was developing this level.
I think there's a detail
But when he
mentioned
first
in
compiles
the,
and plays
story
it,
here,
something goes
somewhere.
wrong. There's a bug somewhere. And this is what happens instead.
Okay, gotta get ready. More movement, and boom. Whoopee! Yep, Labyrinth. I've played this game, like, this chapter
The beam causes
in
you to
particular,
start
like,
floating.
10 plus times.
And this is an important moment for him. Because
So,
yes, this is
I know exactly
technically
what to
a
do
glitch,
anyways.
but Coda
Not exactly,
identifies
because I
something
wasn't sure of
human
myself,
about
and
it.
that's why I said,
Like
I'm gonna
how
try
small
something,
it
but not
makes you
necessarily
feel
do it.
in the face of this
But it
larger
worked, so it's
chaotic
all good.
system. Or this floating could be the afterlife, a peaceful place, juxtaposed against all of the hysteria that you've just had to traverse.
This is really
I don't even know. I have no idea what he was thinking, but what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain. He wants to do more of these really
By the way, my
weird
audio
and
sounds a bit shittier.
experimental
It's because,
designs.
I
So
have
he
a microphone.
stops work on this
Oh,
and moves onto a
Discord.
stream of tiny little
you are
games
fucking
that go in
kidding me.
all sorts of directions. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first game. he
Truly,
made
the
after
professionalism
leaving
you should
this one
expect from
behind.
this channel. And don't worry, this is not this is not an actual speedrun. Well, it is speedrun. I'm trying to speedrun this game. Okay. Hurry, hurry, hurry.
Yep. In this game, you can only walk backwards.
Pretty specific movement you have to do here. Oh, shit. I fucked up already. Yep.
So
Yeah.
it's a short and relatively minimalist
beautiful.
experiment
First fuck up of the
combining
one.
motion and narrative. It is less
Another one,
advanced than the
another one.
previous game, but
Yay.
actually it seems to be more focused, more complete.
Yes.
Coda's trying to give it a unique voice rather than simply basing it on
Okay.
a pre-existing trope.
Actually, I might not have wasted time because, you know,
It's a
Data
short
stop
little
talking.
thought, it says what it wants to say, and then it ends.
I might not
Didn't
have
need
wasted
anything
time.
more
Who
than
knows?
Which to me is why it works, because it gets out quick.
I didn't look at my notes.
Okay,
Shit.
next one.
Ugh. Don't even remember what to do, but still. Okay. This is chapter 3, by the way. Press W to win. Truly. I swear there's merit to this speedrun,
And
I
that's
swear.
it. Okay, the meaning of this game won't be clear just yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I promise you'll see what makes it interesting.
Okay. So, here's another simple game. They will get more complex. trust me.
Oftentimes, Coda would put bizarre titles like this one at the start of his games.
Okay. Go to the staircase.
I wish I'd known him at the time that he was making these early games. He would really only
Jump.
talk to me about his work as he was making
That
it.
does speed you up
Once
a
he
bit.
stopped work on a game, like, that was it. It was dead to him. And I don't agree with that at all, but what are you gonna do?
Yep. Slowing down like all
Once
hell.
you've been slowed to an absolute crawl, the door at the top of the stairs
Now, you meant to
opens.
just wait for David to tell
So
you to press the
why,
enter button,
if Coda's not
but
showing these games to anyone,
I can
why
inch
bother
forward a little
opening the
bit
door at all?
by
Well,
moving
to
into
show
and jump.
you, I'm modifying the game here so that when you press enter, it'll bring you back up to full speed, so you can enter the door for
Okay,
yourself.
there we are, and okay, breather. Yeah, I think I went backwards once or twice, which is bad, but it wasted like less than a second, I think.
A room that's warm and nice and filled with little ideas for games.
I really
Coda
don't know.
would often tell me that he didn't mind if people thought of him as
I'm really
cold
worried
or
because,
distant.
you know,
He
I
said that
can
he knew
playtest
that
this.
he was actually
run,
a
I suppose.
vibrant and compassionate
I
person,
played this game
but
twice.
that it takes time to
from
really see
you know
that.
beginning to end twice. Once
It
playing
can
it
be a
normally,
very slow
and once
climb
writing all my
to get
notes
there.
for this run. So, Jesus fucking Christ. Ugh. So I think, well, no, I'm paranoid really, because I'm not sure whether I had to move to a specific place to trigger the dialogue, and therefore, you know, not waste time. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Okay. I think this will take a little bit longer, and it's a bit more involved. I think.
Well, this is new for Coda. It's an actual puzzle. Go ahead and see if you can solve it.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I think you
Don't
can do
forget
that
that
puzzle
solution,
in
because
such a
we're
way
going
that,
to see this puzzle again soon.
puzzle it twice from the
You're gonna see it
outside,
a lot.
and then, you know, you have to waste a bit of time.
So that seems to
If
be
I ever
right?
do it, which
You walk down a
still am
corridor,
shit,
solve the puzzle, you get to the end.
it's
Simple
not
enough.
impossible for me not to do it.
Alright, now I'm going to modify the game again so that when you
But
press
if
enter,
I do
it'll
it,
remove
you'll see what I
all
mean.
of the walls from this room.
Enter, there we go. And that's the end of it. Yeah, so far nothing major.
How about that?
Nothing major at all.
There was more to it than we had any way of knowing. I actually find
Also,
it funny that this game comes after the Stairs game
you
since
can't
they
explore any of
essentially
this.
convey the opposite idea. So,
It'd be
in the
fun,
Stairs game,
but-
a dull exterior concealed a rich interior. And then, in this level, a dull interior hides this fantastic outer world. Either way, I think that the point is the same, is that most of the time you don't get to know what you're missing, or even that you're missing anything. That's not
Okay,
your
about
role
this
as a
run,
player.
I suppose. I
So
got
if
the
your
idea
role
of
here is not to
speedrunning this
understand,
game from,
then what is it?
I think, my second playthrough of this. I was playing through it and thought, I could probably speedrun this. Ah, fuck it, wait. I hate wasting little bit of time.
Aha. So, this, combined with
think
the
at this point I
entering
can
game
stop
from
talking,
earlier,
whatever.
tells us that
Anyway,
Coda believes his games
got
are
the idea of
connected
the
somehow.
speedrun
It
just
could even
out
be
of
that the Stairs
thin air.
game and puzzle game
also,
are literally connected
I'm
in
almost
between
certain that a
this and
speedrun
the
of this game
entry.
already exists.
There's a
And if I
bigger
watched
picture
said
that
speedrun
all of
or
his games
speedruns,
are meant to play a
plural,
role
I
in.
could probably,
Some
you know,
larger meaning that
get
we
a few
won't be
ideas
able to
from them
grasp
on how
until
to
we've seen all of
better
them.
play the game.
And once we have, we can step
know.
back and start to understand what exactly that bigger picture is.
Okay. Just reading through my notes. So if I watched some of those speedruns, I could probably improve my time. There's probably a few glitches or something. Probably. But I've not watched them, and I will never watch them. Because, I don't know, it feels good, it feels satisfying to know that I made the speedrun by myself. I made all
Let's talk
these
about video
strats
game development for a
without,
second.
you know, any
Every
outside
video
influence.
game runs on what's called an engine, which determines what the game can and cannot do.
Nowadays,
So in other words, the engine
I think I
is a
spoil
set
games
of
for myself a
tools
little
for
bit
game
too much. Go to the store, it then drop to the left.
To make all of
Avoid
these
debris,
games, Coda
try-
is using an engine called Source.
Ah,
Like
piss.
all engines, Source has certain things that it does
Could've been
well,
worse,
and it
could've
has
been
certain
worse.
things that it does poorly.
Drop here.
One of the things that it does very well is
You can drop all the way to the
boxy
bottom if you're good.
linear corridors.
Which, you know,
That's
I
why
probably would.
so many of Coda's
If I
games are
practice
set
this
in
level a
these
little
large,
bit
flat,
in it.
empty rooms, is just because he's working with what the engine does well. The tools
go
available
here.
to the creator shape what kinds of creative
There.
work they're going to end up making. You might consider
actually,
paying
no.
attention to the architecture in Coda's games.
What makes you
to
think in this game is
notice
that
how
to
they
progress,
seem to
like for
stem
example
from an
here, I'm in a
engine
prison,
that's
I'll lay down a
very
minute.
good at producing
To do that, you
linear,
need to
boxy
wait till
corridors.
Davey Raiden over here stops talking.
This prison, funny
And, you know,
enough, in
as you
Coda's
saw,
original design, the
I waited
doors
a
stayed
second
shut
af-
for a full hour
I waited there for a
before
few
letting
seconds
you
until
go.
he stopped talking.
If you don't mind, I think we're gonna
So
skip that.
therefore,
This is
guess it didn't
something
waste
that you and
time
I
at
used to
all.
argue about a
You know,
lot. You know, whether a game ought to actually be playable, whether it means anything if no one can get through it.
okay.
And I would always defend that, you know,
This is
all
definitely the most
work goes
complex
into
game
the
so
game,
far, and
why not
I
make
think
it
the
playable?
most complex
and
game
accessible?
that we'll see
And
for a
so
while.
we just got into heated arguments over it, and there was one time that after one of these conversations, he went home, and a day or two later, he sent me a zip file entitled Playable Games that was full of hundreds of individual games, each of which was just an empty box that you
Oh, I
walked
remember this.
around in, and nothing
I always
else.
go over to the right,
Believe
but
me,
no,
I
I
played
have to go in
every
this
single one of those
copy
just to
home.
find out if there was like
Right.
a gag
Attempt number 2.
somewhere. There wasn't.
No.
It's the puzzle again, with the exact same solution as the last time. There's
I
still
swear I
no
can do it,
clear
I
indication
swear.
of what makes this puzzle so special that Coda
Maybe I
is
should just
going to
wait a little
return to it over and over.
As you can
But
see, this
I
is not
promise
professional
I'll
speedrun
share
at all.
with you my interpretation very shortly.
I'm going to be counting loading times in this time, because I'm not going to bother to, you know, find out the exact time Sans loading times. Shit!
Here, Coda
Yep.
begins using a kind of dialogue system that he
Should've actually
fashioned out of
gone
the
forward,
engine's
shouldn't I?
chat capabilities.
God damn it. Okay.
Use the 1, 2, 3 buttons on your keyboard
I
to respond.
think this is I think the button combination I'm pressing here makes it go a little bit faster. Maybe. Okay, open the cupboard. Did I write that? Oh, I didn't mention cupboards to myself. At least I, you know, didn't skim out the details, I suppose. There we go. 2, 1. What happens if I solve it? Not sure if you have any suspicion of this gameplay is a little bit boring. A little bit. The gameplay doesn't really
And so we
explain
make
this, like
one
you just
last
said.
descent down to the final floor of the level.
We're almost here, almost at the end. This is chapter 7, right? 7. And here we are.
It's a lamppost.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't tell you quite why, but for some reason, Coda fixates on this lamppost.
16 minutes in,
It's going
and
to
we've
appear
done
at the
7
end of
chapters
every
out
single one of his games
17.
from here on out. I'll
This
tell
game
you
is
what I
much
think.
longer than you think it is.
I think that
So it
up
took
to
60
this
minutes to
point,
get through
you know,
7
he's been
chapters,
making
right?
really strange
No,
and
8. 8 out
abstract
of 17.
games
Intro,
with no
1,
clear
2, 3,
purpose,
4,
and maybe
5,
you can
6.
only float around
Yeah,
in
8.
that headspace for so long.
So about half the
Now
game
he wants
in
something
60
to
minutes.
hold on to. He
The
wants
other
a
half the game will
reference
probably
point.
take
He
me
wants the work to be
another
leading
45 minutes to
something.
play.
He
At least I
wants
think
a
so.
destination, which is what this lamppost is.
You know those
it's a
simpler
destination.
games earlier?
We're gonna see it in the work as well. His games are just gonna become a lot more
And
cohesive,
there's gonna be maybe
a lot
2
more fully
or
developed,
3 of those
with
games.
more of a clear idea
coming
behind them.
up. That
And
short.
as we go, that
Next
idea
one's gonna
will get
be
clearer
long as
and
hell.
clearer and clearer.
Probably longer than this one, and much more boring, especially if you're doing the speedrun. You'll see what I mean in just a second. Oh, Mike. Sounds like I'm calling somebody, like talking to a person. Because Mike, this game is connected to the internet, as if. Come on, okay. Bit of time wasted, but kind of used to that by now. So, the main gimmick of this are these notes. I'm not gonna pick
So
up
first
any
off,
of them willingly.
I'm sure you can deduce this, but this game is not connected to the internet. All of the notes that you're gonna see have been written by Coda.
It's a bit of
This
time
was
saved
actually
right
the
there.
first game of his that I ever played. This
Mhm.
was shortly after I met him
Oh, yeah.
at a weekend game jam in Sacramento, where I grew up. I saw him working on this very level.
There are a
and
few
it was
ledges
just
that you can fall
so
down here,
different from
which
anything that anyone else
do
was
save a
doing.
bit of time.
So right away I was like, I have to be friends
And
with this
it's
person.
very useful, especially for this game, because
In
it's very
retrospect,
long.
I think I was probably
And it's very
a bit
boring
too
because the
pushy
main
trying to
gimmick
get
of
his
these
attention.
notes These little
I was
notes
over
you can
enthusiastic.
read, I suppose.
But he was very gracious about it and
There's
very
no
patient.
use of reading them in a speedrun,
And I
is there?
cooled off eventually. Oh, feel free to skip over any of these notes if they're not
think go
doing
right,
anything for
yes.
you. Nothing
Muscle
extra is going to
memory.
happen if you read all of them.
Just normal memory.
Either way, to me they convey a sense of loneliness. I see this person who's filled with thoughts and
Okay.
feelings and beliefs and has no way to express them
in every single one of these
except
levels,
as
most of
scattered
it,
and unheard voices
most of what
in
you
a
have to do
game
is
that
just
wasn't meant
move
to be
properly.
played.
You press a few buttons, turn right or left a few times.
But it's
Not much.
ironic, isn't it? That in playing this game and seeing how alone Coda often felt, that we get to know him better and actually kind of connect with him. And I have to be honest with you,
I'm not sure
this
the
idea
jumping
is
actually
really
moves you
seductive
fast
to me.
except upstairs.
That I could just play someone's game and see the voices in their head and get to know them better and have to do less of the messy in-person socializing. I could just get to know you through your work. I think this is why I always liked
I've
Coda's
said
games
this a
so
few times
much.
before, but
Is
still,
because it felt
but again,
like
the
they
story
let
is
me
really,
have
really
that
good in my opinion.
connection.
Don't jump out the
I
volcano
felt as
because
though
you can't.
he was inviting me personally.
I tried a few
into
times
his world,
and I wasted time.
and then I feel less lonely too.
Bad idea. Bad idea.
At the end of this level, we're going to see the puzzle again. And here, I'll tell you what I think the puzzle means. Each of
Also
these
some
games represents an
souls
idea
speaking
that
here.
was on Coda's mind
Nice.
at the time that he was making it. And the puzzle is a way of closing the door on a previous chapter of his life before moving
Try
on
3.
to the next one.
This time
In
I'm actually
each
gonna
of
wait
his
a little
games,
bit.
After exploring a theme that, he might find difficult, Coda can then
Oh
place
yeah,
this
baby.
puzzle
That's how we do it.
that he knows has
That
a
is how
reliable
we do it.
solution. He understands exactly how it works.
Yeah, that
and so
that
it
level
gives him a
was
simple
4
mechanism
minutes.
for moving on.
a fourth of the total time before.
And because there's this dark area between the doors, a space between the spaces, before you move on,
Thank God my computer volume is down because
just for
recording.
a few seconds to reflect on.
This room
and let
was
go
insulting me
of
when I was
the
going to
events
it.
that led you
It's
here.
loud noise and all.
To step back and connect the pieces
Also,
together, to grasp
dialogue.
at that elusive bigger picture.
Okay, notes. Oh boy, I don't think these notes are going to be good enough, but maybe they will be, maybe. Porn stars die too.
Okay, this one is tough. It's gonna kind of just spin its own wheels for a few minutes.
Oh, what
Hang with it.
the fuck just happened? Was the door solid for a second there? Oh yeah, we were in prison just then. I didn't look around because speedrun. Hooray! Oh yeah, there was a well. By the way, there was a well outside of the
See,
prison,
like,
and
this
now
is
it's
it,
well.
the whole game. And there's nothing that's particularly interesting about it. You just walk to the end of a hallway. Except, for some reason, Coda gets really fixated on this prison that has all of this modern furniture.
Oh yes,
And I
there's
don't know
another one
why,
here.
but he decides he needs to revisit this
You-
prison.
You'll see what I mean.
He's gonna start over, use the same assets, turn it into something else.
This is
Okay,
probably one of my
cool.
favorite.
Here's
puzzle
version
games.
2.
Not because of this, mind you. Because this is just a bit, you know. This is just spam 1. Well, you can spam whatever button you want here, but. Oh, and also this doesn't matter. Whatever you put. I think I just said that, but still. Skylight, full open window. No matter what you press, it doesn't matter. Actually, I'm gonna press 3 because I think the look is nice. Oh, Tables invented in 1935. Yep.
There's a bit more to this one, but still, it's not really communicating anything. It's kind of just weird for weirdness' sake.
Agreed. It'll get kind of good later on.
So, okay, he throws it out and starts over. This time he comes at the prison idea from a different direction.
Uh-oh. Okay. Alright, time to read on the spot. I'm in a very awkward position, by the way. On the table. Pick. I think I did the latter half of that from memory. I only read table, picture lamp twice, sofa, shelves. I'm impressed. So to
And
escape
of
the prison, you
course,
press the table.
now the table is
Oh.
gone and you can't begin the chain of events to escape.
Yeah, there's also no picture, so no.
Here's a
I'm just
version
like,
where there are no bars, but you can't actually get to the well. And then a version where the inside of the prison is the outside and the outside is the inside. Let me just blink you real quick through a few more of these.
Yeah, this is
he
one of my
really
favorite parts
unloaded on this
because
prison idea. There's
you have
nearly
creativity
enough.
to it.
Personally, I think it's awful to watch this. To see a person basically unraveling through their work. And for what? Like, at what
Listen
point
here.
do you just go, maybe there are game ideas other than this prison that I could be working on? But Coda doesn't have that voice telling you to stop. That particular mechanism of defense against yourself. Without it, you just spiral. And so he keeps going and going and going and going and going, and then he hits on something. And he likes it.
Also,
And that's it.
you saw
He's
that
done.
pattern
He stops
from
making
chapter
prisons. This is the very last version
7.
of the prison game that he
Chapter
created.
7.
And the reason I
With the
think
phone
it
box and
works
stuff.
is that the prison is not actually in it.
I think it was said that Coda doesn't revisit his old games in the introduction. Keep that in mind. Also, Coda puts a lamppost at the end of his games. But this is a different game. No, the other games had lampposts. So it's possible all these games are really connected, even though he apparently never comes back to them. He considers these like a full game. He considers these prison games one game. I'm trying to insinuate something here, but I'm not sure if you guys will catch on yet, but I don't know
It's
whether
a conversation.
it'll be a bit less
And so
subtle
this
later
is
on.
what
Hopefully.
Coda wants, is to be able to talk to someone, to share what's on his mind, and to get some good advice from someone who knows. But the irony is that even in this scenario, you're still talking to yourself. You know, all of these games so far are Coda talking to himself.
Guess so. Again, I really hope the mic is working and is proper. I mean, it sounded okay, like perfectly okay last test recording I did before this, but I actually upped the volume a little bit, a tiny little bit. So I hope it didn't fuck anything up, that tiny little increase. But it was very, very tiny, like
I can see
10%?
why he considers this a
5
fitting
to 10%?
conclusion to the prison games. After all of the obsession and frustration, just to be told by someone you can trust that things are going to be okay. Wouldn't that be nice?
It sure would be. Okay, this next game. All the other games, you know, with all the things you have to do in them, fucking
So what would
nothing
it look like if Coda
compared to
wanted
this.
to make a game about talking to someone
This
other than
is
himself?
without a doubt the hardest part of this run, because there's a lot of shit you need to do. A lot
To me, this
of
environment is meant to represent Coda's puzzle.
Okay, let's do
with
this.
the two doors on either side and a dark transitional space between.
Alright, I'm not gonna be talking much because I really, really need to fucking focus. I've got to put spam on my notes.
You'll
but
notice that the quality of the art is a step up from previous games, including this new and improved chat system, which he started using from this point on. From here on out, he begins putting much more effort into the visual polish of his work, and this particular game took 2 months to create as a result.
Focus. All the other ones are just movement. This is, I guess, memory and position. Oh, always a bit of time there. Oh, I did. Oh, thank God. I was worried for a second that I didn't actually clean the tub. Wait, I did. Fuck!
After the intense set of prison games, this house cleaning level almost feels
I
like
knew I'd fuck up on this
cleansing.
one. I knew it.
It's the moment after a particularly difficult or traumatic experience where you just need to let it sit and digest
Well, here's a
inside
fun
you,
little thing. Look at these
and
books.
eventually cohere into something meaningful.
Oh, rock.
I know that Coda really liked this game.
Oh.
Of all of his work, actually, this was the only one that he called me up to ask me to come over and look at it. This was during a period of a few months where he was, like, grossly happy all the time. Just walked around with a constant smile on his face.
I'm so unorganized. I hate this. Okay, look at the books. It didn't actually do anything.
I'm glad he made this. I'm glad he found some peace. But, of course,
Yeah?
it can't
Okay.
last. The music
At
stops,
least I did that
your
right.
companion is
For
gone,
once.
it's time to leave. The door at the top of the hill is now open as well.
It's like the last
Again,
time I
you
tried this level.
can't
Like,
stay
this level,
in the dark
I didn't know
space
the
for
glass
too
broke.
long. You just can't.
But
You
I
have
caught
to
it,
keep
and
moving.
so
it's how
it's
you
good.
stay alive. Which is the whole point of the puzzle doors, right? That sooner
Also,
or
do
later
note,
you have to pick
I
up and
think
move.
Davey said, or will say, that
I really thought that was the
that
point.
puzzle over there loop indefinitely. but then he modified it, so it didn't. But there's still a lamppost here signifying the end of the game. I wonder what this means.
This one gets a
Okay,
bit...
this is the second easiest thing. This is the second easiest, game in this, after the introduction. Why? Step 1, spam 1. Step 2, you win. Not yet. The first half you do literally shit all. I'd take a drink, but I need both my hands to do that, and my left hand, which is controlling WASD keys, and the one button that I keep spamming, it's underneath the cable, and I don't want to move it and not have it there in time to, you know, do shit. My mic cable is very long, I suppose. There's a lot of it, basically, and that's pretty inconvenient. It's manageable, I suppose, but it's not particularly comfortable. We should probably get an armrest. Pardon me. We should probably get an armrest or something. Now that I'm looking at it, this is
About
going
halfway
by
through the
much
game,
quicker than I
perspective
thought it would be. You don't need to move, by the way. I'm just moving for no reason. I'm 30 minutes in, and I'm just about to
And you
finish
play
chapter 11.
as the teacher. And
Chapter 12,
suddenly,
13,
you discover
14,
that your
15,
teacher
16,
is just
17.
as bigoted and
6 more
afraid
chapters.
as you are. Oh, and also you can move around the classroom now.
Out of these,
I felt pretty hard for this one. I feel like
Next
it's
one's-
one of the most relatable experiences that you can have. To assume that some other person is perfect and totally fulfilled in every way, and completely miss all of the little flaws that make them painfully human.
most of these next
think
ones
about
are
this
quite
a
long,
lot these days.
longer than most of these things. Okay. Alright. Okay. I'm gonna try and do something here. It might work. W, come on. It might work, might not.
This one
who
took
knows?
a lot longer than all the others for Coda to make. It was 4 months between this and the last one. That's twice as long as it took him to make any other game before this, and it's not like it's particularly complex. So I remember I found that a little strange at the time.
The scene will be playing to me. This should work. No. God. Speedrun ruined. Speedrun ruined. So if I stood like a little bit to the left, I'd be on top of the wall, without Counter standing near the wall. And I wouldn't have had to waste 5 seconds, you know, doing stuff. Goddamn. Anyway, nothing much to this game, apart from that. Just another spam 1, I think. Well, not spam 1, but... for now, I'll just do nothing. Lots of different colored lights. Didn't actually notice these ones up here before. There's a few cones. I guess it's supposed to represent people bumping you away, or pushing you away, or something? I don't know. Anyway, third press, move backwards. Oh yeah, and controls crouch. It wasn't said in the control screen, but it's a thing that I'll be using, I think. Lamppost. This is subtle.
The game ends with this eerie premonition of what's
Yeah,
going
this
to
is
happen
definitely
next
lacking.
in Coda's
Oh well.
life. The solution,
I never really was a
social
professional
anxiety,
YouTuber ever.
to
And I
fears of
guess
having to
it's proof
perform
my
and
Let's Plays
having
too.
to chase success, the
One of
answer
my
for
speedrunners.
Coda is to withdraw,
The last of which was
to hide himself away. Which is what
semi-porn game.
leads to scenarios like the stairs that slowed you down
Which I
several
played
games
for
ago, where
a
it
minute or
just
two.
becomes harder and harder to access Coda's inner landscape because he keeps retreating. He just keeps backing away from possible connections to anyone other than himself.
This
And
is
to be honest,
simple and short,
I didn't consider it very healthy when I first played this game.
So
You
even
know,
music.
it looked to me like he was trying to justify the idea of just disconnecting
Oh, I think
yourself.
if I stay away from
And
you
that
know,
wasn't what I wanted
all
for
these
him
things
or for
here.
his games. Because I feel
Game
like
lacks
a
a bit
lot of his
less.
games are inviting me to
Doesn't really
connect,
matter because
with this person,
baby is still talking,
to bring him
and that's
closer.
really all that matters to him. I can stop right here, and as long as he, finishes his talk, that's
But
when.
what can you do? After
when it
this,
goes black and we
Coda
continue.
went off and took another 5 months
Okay.
to make a new game.
This is another short one. Spam clicking. I had to cut the video while doing a speedrun. Imagine if you watched your favorite speedrunner, like Simple Slips. He was a pretty good one. Or Dive, Cosmic
Like I said, I
Cosmic
was
D12.
getting concerned.
And oops,
First
sorry
off,
guys, gotta
he's
cut this
never been
fucking
this
Super
explicit in
Mario
his work about
Bros.
exactly what
4
he's thinking.
speedrun.
So
What I'm doing
where's
here.
that coming from?
Gotta eat food.
But
Be
then
back
even
in,
weirder,
like,
his
20
work
minutes.
has potentially stopped being an
Just
outlet for
awkward
him.
cut or some shit.
Not like he's having trouble iterating on ideas, but
Anyway,
he
this is
literally just
really short.
can't think
Also,
of new ideas
S
anymore.
Whisper.
And in
Also,
person, he was being
you
a
have to
lot
press
more
2 this
distant
time.
than usual.
So if you press
Like,
1 or 3,
you know how sometimes
just
a
die
person will
from the,
just deflect anything
door.
that you say in order to keep themselves disconnected all the time. It was that
Okay.
kind of thing. Here was the point in my relationship with
to,
Coda where I
just
really
go to
started
spammers.
to wonder if he needed my help in some way. His games are going to get more desperate from here on out.
Also,
After this
the message
game,
at the
it's
beginning
almost
said,
6 months
this game is best
before he
played
finishes
played
something
with your
new.
eyes closed. But, you really shouldn't do that. But, wait, what's this one? Why is my things... Why am I not saying stay near doors both times? Oh, I know this is a different one. No, I'm reading the one for the next chapter. Great. Don't go to the right, go forward. I made the same mistake before. Nope, I was second guessing myself. Never mind. Muscle
If
memory.
the last
FTW.
game featured Coda talking explicitly about his creative frustrations, this one turns it up to 11. Now, put yourself in my shoes playing this. Here's a friend whose
Oh,
work is
fuck
exhibiting signs of struggle, frustration,
notes.
anxiety, depression,
busy.
even.
Let me
And
guess,
yet
my notes say
still, he
something.
keeps making games. He keeps throwing himself into the grinder even when he clearly doesn't
Nope,
have the energy
didn't-
for it anymore.
Didn't say anything first.
Why? What is it for?
My speedrun is
'Cause
going
From my
downhill
perspective
very,
at the
very
time,
quickly.
and just what I knew of him,
Oh wait.
this was a result of how
who?
isolated he was. He was in his own little bubble, just sitting at his computer all day, not
Just
really
sit
showing
down,
these
do
games
this.
to anyone,
Two.
not releasing them
inside.
onto the internet, and so
Swan.
he didn't have anyone outside of himself to connect with. He had no outlet to ground himself on.
And boom. And boom.
You
I'm
can't
starting to think this
talk
might
yourself
not take
out
much
of
more than
loneliness.
50
It
minutes.
doesn't work that way.
Really?
You can't be the one writing both the questions and the answers. Then there's no
Also,
movement. Then there's
if
no
you're bored of me,
circulation.
I highly
If
recommend
all of
you
your
do
anxieties
the
are being
story.
channeled into your work, then if the work ever fails, you have no backup and you're just going to crash.
I could have done this game as a one-off, but as you can see, it's 50 minutes long. And reading all this text and all,
Seeing this game at the time that he made it,
it took me like 3 times as
really
long. honestly.
unhealthy to me.
Maybe it could be
I was
like a
watching him do this
really
to himself,
long
and I hated
let's
it.
do off or
I
something.
hated seeing him so trapped. It's like,
I don't.
video games are not worth this amount of
Dang.
suffering.
Also, Chef
This is
on
someone I
Flood.
really cared about. And I used to
Remember,
get so much
Coda
joy out of
always
seeing
throws away his games after finishing them.
For him to suddenly become
All those
angry and
quotes
frustrated like
were
this
from previous
was
games.
the worst thing for me. I don't know. This is what I felt at the time. I don't know how else to explain it.
You may be getting where I'm getting
I
at here.
wanted it to stop more than anything. I had never felt so rotten. I needed more than I had ever needed anything for this to stop. But it didn't stop. After finishing this one,
I'm gonna have to
Coda
cut this
takes
again in a
another
minute.
7
God damn it.
months and comes up with a new game.
Okay, we are in the new game. Shh, Mike, don't die on me, please. Please. I hit my, the pile of books and DVD cases that are holding up my mic. I thought it'd crash on me, literally. We've captured the machine. It is waiting for you now. You can begin interrogation whenever you like. I intend to be quick, I suppose. Doesn't matter what you pick, like most of the game. Hold the press. One more thing you should know about the machine. It calls itself Coda. Interesting. Also, guess playing as a woman, specifically. Interesting. Yeah, you are the man himself. Kind
Of course, it's the machine.
Not a bad looking machine, I suppose. I don't really know what it's meant to fucking be, but you know. Actually, this is gonna be. This might actually take an hour, like I said before. Now I'm thinking about this a bit more. Oh. Almost fucked that one up. Saved my ass just in time. I thought putting my friends, but spamming one is the thing I do in this game. I don't know why I spam once. I guess it is the most convenient thing to press. My middle finger. Oh. My middle finger's holding W. Oh, by the way. On the stage. It's the gun from chapter 1. Interesting. But yeah, Code doesn't revisit his games, does he? Or maybe it's just that this is a gun model that he has, and he has.
So now the work is becoming self-destructive. And I'll tell you, at the time that I first played this game, shortly after he made it, here's what I'm thinking to myself. I'm thinking that Code is stuck in his own head, and that it's having a very negative effect on him, and that all he needs to do is just start showing his work to people.
Really?
To get some actual feedback on his games, it might get him out of isolation.
Finger left to my middle finger, immediately left to my middle finger.
So, as I'm thinking this, I realized that I could be the one to initiate it. Because it would never occur to Coda to start actively soliciting feedback, so what if I did it for him?
So what is this one?
If he could see the difference it would make to have more actual conversations with other human beings, would that bring him out of his mental spiral? Would it give him confidence in himself? Would it bring meaning back into his work?
Okay. Just gonna, okay, shoot downwards. Yeah.
So I started showing Coda's work to people. I
You
took
can't
this
do
one, and the island that you just played, the theater, the notes, the house cleaning game, and some of the prison escape games. I brought them to people that I knew and trusted. I asked their opinions. And the great part is that they really loved his games.
Listen.
The point of it all was just to give him some external reference point, but they genuinely loved his work. There was nothing for him to be afraid of.
It does sound very wholesome, doesn't it? Spawn 1. I think you have to shoot him here. Yep, yeah. To initiate dialogue.
Can you see why I felt like this was the right thing to do?
Also, you can crouch in.
Because it's the thing that I always feel like I need.
Nice.
To be told that my work is good. That I am good. When someone really connects with a thing that I've made, when they see themselves purely in my work,
Lamppost.
there's nothing that feels better. And I got to give that very same feeling to my friend. I did something... I really felt like I'd done something good. Like I was a good person. I felt like there was a friend who was in trouble and was unhappy and maybe didn't like themselves, and I could fix it. If I could give him this gift, maybe I could fix the problem. They told me how much they enjoyed his games. It was the best
story.
It was the absolute best feeling. It made me feel so happy. So beautifully happy.
Yep, our narrator's going apeshit. Always a good sign of things. Anyway. Don't watch
So
out, doesn't
anyway,
50 minutes.
Coda finishes this game, and then really he just kind of takes off for a while. So this is
where the story
June of
bit of the game really comes
2011,
in.
and I didn't hear anything from him for several weeks, I guess. And so out of nowhere, one day I get an email, and it's got a private link to a new game of Coda's. This one is called The Tower, and to my knowledge, it's the last game that Coda ever made.
Those games ever... Did he even give his
So
games
let's
names?
take a look.
Interesting. Anyway, second to last bit of the game. Whoop-de-doo. Well, I guess that's where the name comes from. Never mind, never mind.
And this is where I have trouble saying anything meaningful
This
about
looks like a
Coda's
horror
work.
game, this.
Because more than anything else,
Trust
the
me, it
tower
isn't.
just feels distant.
If it
feels like
was,
it's
I would not be
trying
playing
to
this again.
distance itself from the world.
But then again, I played through Doki
It's a
Doki
very
fucking Literature
cold
Club
game.
twice. And stayed in the fucking Monica torture classroom for like almost 2 hours, so... You know, I don't think I'm mentally
This
sound.
room actually
and
has a
can't
maze
really,
in it.
you know, judge scariness anymore. Oh yeah, maze.
Except that all the walls of the maze are
Except,
invisible.
you know,
And then
I'm
every
pretty sure
time you
it
touch
would
one
not
of the
be worth
walls, there's this
going
awful
through this maze.
flashing and noise. So the experience is really miserable. The game goes beyond not being meant to be played. It actually seems to despise the player for trying to play it at all. But
Yeah,
I
man.
do want to show you the rest of the levels, so when you're ready to continue, press enter and I'll put a bridge over
piss.
the maze.
I was trying to like jump onto the bridge so I could save a few seconds. Instead I wasted a few. Lovely. Actually, ooh. I was gonna say, you know the
And to be
crouch thing I
fair,
mentioned?
it's not like
You know,
this is the
control?
first game that's needed
I
some
was
modification
just using
to be
the
playable.
shoot game.
Like the house cleaning.
I was gonna say,
Now
oh,
that one
you
used
can
to
crouch jump up these
actually
stairs.
loop the cleaning chores and you just
It
clean
turns
the
out you
house
can't crouch
forever.
midair.
I had to
I
cut it
thought you
off
could
so that
because
you
you
could
couldn't
exit the
on the
house and
original
the game would
Half-Life.
actually end.
And maybe
But
Half-Life 2?
that game had an
Half-Life
idea
2.
that it was actually trying to communicate.
Okay.
What's the deeper idea behind the invisible maze? The only way past this challenge is to randomly guess the 6-digit code.
I have to look at my notes.
Like the
just looking
invisible
at them.
maze, it's frustrating to me because it's the opposite of everything else that Coda has made.
Nice.
It doesn't
Which is,
encourage thought or
I mean,
engagement.
it doesn't slow me
It doesn't
down
ask
much.
anything of me except a lot of my time.
At least
If I
that's
could
one
have
way to tell
reached it
myself.
during this time, then maybe I could have asked him, but I couldn't. I still don't really understand why this is here.
So the crouch function in this game is
I'll
literally
put the
useless.
code on the ground for you here, though, so that we can move on.
Also, locked door.
The switch to open this door is actually on the other side of the door, meaning that it's literally impossible to solve from this side.
Nice.
So even if you somehow brute forced your way through the first 2 challenges, and you got to this point, there's actually just no way to progress.
Lovely.
And it's scary for me. The idea of
You
Coda
know,
cutting
I
himself
did
off
say I'll never
entirely,
come back to this game after
saying,
finish the speedrun.
that's it.
because
That's the end of the conversation. Not
I'm
giving
too
me
lazy.
any way to fix the problem.
But we are now at 48.5
I
minutes
feel
of
like
recording,
a failure, I
right?
guess, when I can't
But
fix the problem.
say that I'm like a minute or two off
I
of
can
the
open
1
this
hour
door
mark.
for you, so let me do that. Was I a failure for
Can't
not
say that I'd
understanding
resist
this
the
game?
temptation of, you know, trying to lower
I don't know why I
lower
would be.
the hour
It's
mark.
not like everything needs to have a solution.
Can't, you
But
know,
I feel it somehow.
can't say I'd resist the temptation.
I feel like I failed, and I don't
The
understand
thing is,
why.
this one was,
I remember it's June
I
of
think, I
2011.
could say like a
I'm
handful of
playing
seconds
this
in
for the
one
very
bit.
first time,
Mm.
and as I'm playing,
And everything
I'm
else is
thinking
just
to myself,
minor little
I
things.
don't know this person.
Actually moving forward better.
I have no
stuff like that.
idea who this person is.
Eh.
It wasn't the guy I knew. It wasn't my friend. I had come to so many conclusions from looking at all of his
Oh yeah,
work
plot
up to
is
this
getting
point,
really
and then
thick here.
suddenly none of them. I had been trying to, though. That was the
Oh, I
thing.
actually made it.
For years, I was trying to get
feel-
to know him,
I feel
to
that jump
understand who
when
he
my box is
actually
stinging,
was and
when
what he
I'm mapping
stood
the
for.
route.
I asked
I was
him
afraid I'd do
so
it
many
this time,
times
but
to please
guess
just
not.
tell me what his games mean to him. I asked him please to tell me what the 3 dots mean. And he wouldn't.
And here,
I just felt
I
so
wish
strongly
there was a
that
crouch
if I could
button
have
to,
connected
like,
with him,
make my
that
jumps
if I
go a
could have
little higher.
somehow made his work my own, that I would finally be once and for all
it doesn't
happy.
work because this isn't Half-Life 1.
It was that
Or
I
2 maybe.
needed to see myself in someone else. I I needed to be someone other than me.
Interesting, isn't it?
But he stopped
Struck
and
me.
left. And it felt
Yeah, seriously.
somehow like I
I should
had
stop
failed.
referencing the story because, again, I sincerely
screw
recommend
up?
that you play this game before watching my video. Oh yeah. This shook me a little bit when I first came
I'm
to this.
the reason that you stopped making
Seriously.
games, aren't I?
Seriously, you should not be watching this if you haven't played the game.
Because of what I did.
Though it is a bit expensive.
Poisoned it
Also,
for you.
I wasted a few seconds there, but you
I
can
don't
waste up
think I
like
ever told you
half a
this.
minute here, actually.
But when I took your work
Because
and I was
you're meant to,
showing
you
it
know,
to
read
people,
these calmly.
it actually
you know?
felt
But
it felt as though
if you
I
speedrun
were
this,
responsible
just
for
push
something
through it like I am right now.
valuable.
you can just
And
chill for a little
the
bit.
people who
Because
played
Davey
them,
isn't talking quickly enough
they
to catch up
treated
to
me
you.
like I was important.
Well,
They really
feel free to,
listened and
you know,
cared about what
stop and
I had
read
to
these.
say.
Actually, yeah,
Even though
I'm
I
gonna
was
try and
showing
do that.
your work, it was
Just in case you actually don't want to buy the game.
I felt
be like
good
Steam
about
sale or something.
myself. Finally, for a moment, while I had that, I
Okay.
liked myself.
Last puzzle.
And then you stopped,
Here we are.
and I
Okay.
didn't have anything left to
So
show
here,
people.
okay,
I
it's
just had to
51 minutes,
be
5
with
seconds
myself.
when I enter this room.
And as soon as
I'm gonna
that
see how
happened,
long I'm here.
there was
Just for the
no
shits.
feeling at
Okay?
all.
Okay.
Nothing. Less than nothing. What does that mean? I'm afraid that I did something
Okay,
really
here we
stupid
are.
because I don't like myself. That's
looks like no-
why
yep, yeah.
I'm releasing this collection of your work. Is
Listen,
because I
listen.
haven't been able to find any other way to reach you. I've tried everything. And so a part of me has hope that if I put this compilation out into the world, and if I put my name on it, that maybe enough people will play it so that it'll find its way to you,
So
so
basically,
that I can tell you
Davey's
that
taking his work
I'm
and putting
sorry.
it up for sale. For money.
I know I screwed up. If I apologize to you
It's not a
truly and
moral thing
deeply,
here, it's a legal thing.
will you start making games
It's illegal
again?
to do that.
Please. I need to feel okay with
Remember
myself.
how I said I'd
again.
be less
And I
subtle
always
with
felt
my
okay as
point?
long as I had your work to see myself in.
Yeah.
I mean, is something wrong with me? Because I know that I did an awful thing, and I'm doing it again right now. Like, I'm showing people your work, but I can't stop myself from doing it. That's how badly I need to feel something again, like I'm an addict. There has to be something wrong with me. Can I apologize? What if I tell you I was wrong? Will that work? Will that fix it? I don't know. I don't think it will, but there's nothing else that I can do. Just tell me
Okay,
what you
small,
want.
small, small.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please, start making games again. Please help me. Please give me some of whatever it is that makes you complete. I want whatever that wholeness is that you just summoned out of nothing and you put into your work. You were complete in some way that I never was. I want to know I want to know how to be a good person. I want to know how not to hate myself. Please. I'm fading, and all I want is to know that I'm going to be okay.
And it ends just before you can crush yourself to death. Bit of a shame, really. 7 minutes. I'm not gonna get through this in 7 minutes. We're gonna be just short of an hour. Or just shy of an hour. God damn it. Ugh. Even if I do all this movement perfectly, which I doubt I will, yeah, can't do much. Can't do much. If I you know, fail to do this by like a 3 minute or higher margin, there's no real point in redoing this. I'm not gonna get past the 1 hour mark. Unless I find some glitch in this. Maybe. Well, I could technically do it.
More.
Technically.
More
But
love.
I'll show you guys
more
afterwards.
More people
Speedrun.
telling me that I'm good. Always more. It's like a disease. Solution.
Here comes the only strat of this part of this game, I suppose. This chapter 17, by the way, epilogue. Here comes the only strat of this game.
I guess if someone had told me ahead of time that he just really enjoyed
Did it.
making prison games,
Yep.
maybe I wouldn't have thought he was so desperate.
Just skipping, going around.
Wouldn't have told so many people that he was depressed. Maybe he just likes making prisons.
Probably. Ah, fuck. Up the stairs.
Even now, the disease is telling me to stop. Don't show people what a shitty person you are.
Oh,
They'll
S-bomb.
hate you.
None of the other games have, like, violence or anything, so... this is the most mature thing in this game, I suppose. I don't think Steam games are rated though, so... But if this was, it'd probably be a 12. Because no violence, just one instance of the S word. Oh, shit. I've never... Why am I saying the S word all of a sudden? I mean, the S-bomb kind of makes sense, but I've never been one to, you know, refrain from swearing like a piece of crap.
If I knew that my life depended on finding something to be driven by other than validation, what would that even be?
I'm not gonna make
It's
it.
strange, but the thought of not being driven by external validation is unthinkable. Like, I actually cannot conceive of what that would be like.
I hope jumping isn't slowing me down. It usually doesn't, but...
What now?
What now, indeed?
I think I need to go. And I'm sorry, because I know that I said that I would be here and I would walk you through this, but I'm starting to feel like I have a lot of
I
work
didn't
to do.
think this finale would be this intense,
I
actually.
have a lot that I need to make up for. And so I'm just gonna...
No!
Okay.
And that is the very last thing Davy Reedon says in this game. From now on, it's just me. Just good old Paramount Kate here. Yep. Son of a bitch, I'm not gonna make it. Kind of depends, I suppose. I don't know. Come on, baby, come on. Okay. Elevator. Walk the wall and just keep jumping, baby, come on. I legitimately didn't think this would be this intense, because, you know, this isn't a proper speedrun, you know, considering the 2 cuts that I've made. So why should I care? I don't care. Not really, but now, shit, I think I did that a bit wrong. But now, I should have a goal, the 1 hour mark. Come on. If I don't do this in under an hour, I know this will haunt me. I know. Actually, no, I think I'm good. Yeah, I think I'm good. Hopefully. From now on, you can just turn off the mouse. If I do this in over an hour, this will haunt me. And a voice in the back of my head will just be saying, Byron, you can do this in under an hour. Do it again. Do it again, son of a bitch. No, good. No, I'm good. Oh, fuck. I think this is gonna be over in just under 59 minutes. Sweet baby Jesus. Time's gonna come up when I have lost control of my character, by the way. And look, it's that laser from SS Whisper again. Also, this is a very creepy hallway. It gives you off the feeling that somebody's here. Okay. I can jump. I gotta time my jump properly, and boom. 58:41, I'd say. Just gonna write that down in my little notebook here. Boom. It might not be official. It's probably like a few seconds above that, or something like that. I don't care. Oh yeah, there is still this, but all I can do is look around. I wouldn't say that, you know, I'm still playing. I don't have active control of the game anymore. I can just look. Because up until the laser part, I could jump and hit that loading zone a little bit faster, which I did. But now, I have no control. I'm just going for the ride. I'm just looking around, baby. Also, do note that epilogue, where does that come from? Coda has not made any games since the tower. So has Davey Reedon specially made a game for us? Just that one game specially? home. If you count that as the ending point, it's ended a second before the hour mark. Holy shit. Alright, I'm gonna go away from the microphone just for a second.
Turn back from this cave. You said, let me prove that I'm brave.
Remember these names.
Let me keep going. But the cave goes for miles and miles and miles. And you're so tired, but I know that you're strong. So turn back, turn back.
God, that didn't I? Okay. So, that was the beginnings guide. And that's my speedrun done. My first video in over like 2 months, I think, recorded. Yeah, I think so. It's good to be back, I suppose. I fucking hope the mic is working properly. I mean, you can hear me now because all that you can hear is this ambiance. But, you know, in the parts where David Whedon was speaking as well. For most of this video, the massive room was at this. Something like this. They loaded up to this after the second cut. I even turned on captions just so you guys can actually hear the fucker. Okay, there's a... I thought the game crashed, and so it was just like turning a bit white. You know how games don't do that, right? When it's like not responding, I suppose. You've had that happen to you, right? Okay, so I'm going back into the epilogue, or rather the introduction, for a few reasons. Well, there's just one reason in particular.
Hi there.
There's, you know, here you can see the names of the chapters and when it was made. You can actually see this in game, by the way. For everything else you could, I suppose. But you can skip levels, which
Thank you very much
I guess
for
that's
playing
the
the
true way
beginner's
to
guide.
speed on this game, where
My name
you know
is David.
it's mostly just loading zones. I suppose. I'm not sure what to do right now. I guess I'll just show you the chapter names, because I didn't really show you. Whisper, backwards. My first major fuck up. Thank you. Doesn't have a thingy. Okay. I'm gonna reveal some pretty major spoilers for this game. If you want to hear them, please leave now. It's been a pleasure to have you. Thank you for watching my really shitty speedrun, and well, it's good to be back. Now, I kind of feel like I want to, you know, play through the introduction while saying this. I don't quite know why. But I'm paranoid about the fucking microphone now. Even though I tested it, it should be fine. But just in case, I guess I just want something
Hi
to do
there.
while playing. Just in case.
Thank you very much for playing. the
Okay,
beginner's
here's a
guide.
bombshell.
My name
This
is
game,
David Whedon. I wrote
it isn't
Insanely
real.
Terrible, and while that game
You've
tells
all
a
been
pretty
in the
absurd
Matrix,
story,
and you have to wake up
today,
right now.
I'm going to tell you
Not that
about
way,
a
but-
series of events that happened between 2008
You saw those people,
and
right?
2011.
After the 4-hour message in the credits,
We're going to
you saw
look
the
at
list of
games
people.
made by a
This
friend
game would
of
not be
mine
possible without
named
contributions of these
Koda.
individuals, right?
Now, these
That is
games
true.
mean a lot
That is
to me
very, very
because
true.
I met
Because
Koda
those are the
in
game
early
developers.
2009, at a time when I was
I think I remember
really struggling with
Jesus
some personal
Hernandez,
stuff.
or whatever
And
his last
his
name
work
is.
pointed
Sorry
me in a
to the
very
guy.
powerful direction.
He's
found it
the
to be a
programmer, I
reference
think.
point for the
According to
kinds of
Wikipedia page.
creative works that I wanted to make.
Wikipedia's unreliable.
So just to start you off, this is I
have
think
been
the first game he
feeding
ever
you guys
made.
information,
It's a level for
or like hints about
Counter-Strike.
the fact that this game
You
is
can walk around here, by the way.
made by Coda.
And mostly it's just
Because
Coda learning the basics.
the one
of
argument I
building
presented
a
at the very
3D
end of the
environment.
game, right?
What
About
I like is that even though he
what
starts
Davey
from the
Whedon.
simple
Okay,
aesthetic
say
of a
that
desert
these games are
town,
actually Coda's.
he
You
then
know, he made these
scatters
games,
these
gave them to Davey,
colorful,
I
abstract
suppose,
blobs
and then he made his
impossible floating
compilation
heights around
and
the
made,
level.
you know,
And of course,
and
it destroys
it-
the illusion that this actually is a desert town.
made people pay for it.
And instead, this level becomes a
Twister.
kind of calling card from its creator.
That'd
It's
be
like a
illegal.
reminder that this video game was constructed by
From
a
what I've
real
read,
person.
you legally cannot take somebody else's
What was
games,
going
like
through his head
these,
as he was building
and
it?
put them
This
on
is what I
sale
like
for
about
money.
all of Coda's games.
I
mean,
guess there's like
not
a
that they're
technicality
all
if you bring them
fascinating as
out for
games,
free,
but they
if
are
they're
all
non-profit
going to
works,
give
which
us
these aren't
access
because they
to their
weren't
creator.
released.
I want us to see past the games
But,
themselves.
yeah,
I want to get to
this is
know
a
who this
for-profit
human being
game.
really is.
cost a few
And that's
pounds.
exactly what we're going to do here.
Yeah.
So, it's 2008. Coda starts making these games.
There's even an
and
interview with
he
David
never
Whedon where he
releases
confirms that this
He
is
doesn't
actually
put
not
them
real.
onto the internet. He just makes them and then immediately
must
abandons
confess,
them,
I-
and they sit on his
Oh my god. At least this time didn't interrupt the fucking speedrun.
computer.
But okay,
And I
When I
think
was
he
first playing this
understood
game,
this image of himself as a
during the
recluse.
tower, I believe.
At one point, he
And that's
jokingly
the one
renamed his
point
computer's
in time that I
recycling bin
figured
to
maybe this is
important
actually
games folder.
Davey Whedon's
So,
Coda.
you know, this was just how he worked. He
It's the
tended
one
to
time I actually
crank them
spotted
out
that.
one after the
And
other
after
without
he
even
went to the
really
room with all
pausing to try to
the messages
understand
from
what he
Coda.
had just made, until suddenly
That's what I
one
thought.
day,
No.
he just
No, surely
stopped.
not.
In
This must be real.
2011, that was it.
Suppose.
He made his last game, and then he hasn't
I
made
really
another one
hope
since.
I actually showed a few of those
And
to you guys,
that's why
because
I've taken
even
this
if you haven't played the game,
opportunity
you
to
can
gather
need to
all
read
of
those
his work
messages.
together, is because I find
As
his
long as
games
you've actually
powerful and
followed the
interesting,
story of
and
this
I'd
game,
like
that
this
is.
collection to reach him, to maybe encourage him to start creating again. And if the people like you who play this also happen to find his work
Though,
interesting,
there is
then
some
I'm sure
evidence,
it'll just send
like,
that
you know,
much
cover up the
stronger
fact
of a
that this is
message of
fake.
encouragement to Coda.
I think this
So thanks
is...
for joining me on this.
I think after the last game was released, last game code was released, July 11th,
If you have a particular
suppose?
interpretation that I haven't
June of
mentioned
11,
here, or if you
2011?
just need to get in touch,
About a
you
month
can
or two
email
later,
at
Stanley Parable was released. So,
wreden@gmail.com.
when David Whedon says
Okay,
he
that's about
lives for those validations,
But for introduction,
I mean,
let's take a look at Coda's
it's
first
possible.
proper game. As each
he
game is
released
loading,
really
I'll
popular
show you
games
the
and
date
stuff, and
that it was
everybody's telling
completed.
him how great he is for
This
making it.
first one was made in November.
Stuff like that. Should I just show options? You can play with the gamepad, but why would you want to? This is a first-person game. WSD and mouse good enough. I don't know. There's nothing more to show, I suppose. This has been fun, gotta say. If this guy releases another game, fuck yes, I'm playing it. No doubt about that. I would show Let's Play of... I would consider Let's Play of the Stanley Parable, but there's one problem. I've already played through it and got like 90% of all the things that I can. That is a problem. So, I guess I can't do anything with that. Oh well. I've dragged this thing on long enough. Even though it's been 10 minutes since the speedrun ended. But anyway. Though, considering the time I'll put in the title is 58:41, it'll probably make people a bit suspicious, considering, you know, the time is 1 minute 8. It'll probably be a minute 10 before or an hour 10, whatever, before I actually stop recording. But, whatever. Thank you for joining me for the speedrun. It has been a good week or two in the making. I don't even know if the notes were worth it. But, hey, I did it in under an hour, so I don't have to do that ever again. But, yeah. Next time, I'll hopefully have some Luigi's Mansion videos up. Hopefully. But until then, goodbye. It's very, very good to be back. Except, you know, in my house, we're working on a new bathroom. E.g., there's going to be a lot of noise, so I'm not going to have a lot of chance to record. Nothing in life ever goes my way, does it?